Roll up for the Slenderman chokeout.
Hello and welcome to episode 62 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivers. With me, as usual, is John Denton.
Salut!
Every week, same thing. You should know the deal by now. 2 top 10 lists. The 10 games we've been playing over the past 7 days. Number 10, the games we played the least. Number 1, we played the most, etc., etc. John, let's do this.
Let's do this. My number 10 is Mario Brothers U. New Mario Brothers U? Super Mario? I don't know what it's called. I just wanted to play the Wii U. I just thought I just wanted to play it. I need to play this thing, seeing as it's gone down to about £4 now, and I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it was a fucking lot of money with the bundle that I had to buy and all the other shit. And so I felt a little bit aggrieved by the whole thing. So I decided to put it on for a minute, but then my kid snatched the thing out of my hand and then ran off with it. So that was it.
Oh.
I just had to get it back, and then I thought I don't really want to play this.
Oh.
So. Yeah, I played like 20 seconds.
Shit, okay, alright. Good game, though. You should.
Oh, yeah, it's a great game. I'm right at the end. I should do it, really, but I just wanted to play the fucking Wii U.
Yeah.
Just want a game on it. And I know people like Monster Hunter, but I can't play that. I don't even, what is it? I don't want to fucking craft some bones and then go...
You might actually really quite like Monster Hunter. It's just that you need the fucking time to play it.
I've tried playing it before and it made no sense.
Oh, alright, okay. Fair enough. Well, August, if you're waiting, I think the next biggie is Pikmin, and it's now been pushed back to August. So
Jesus,
yeah, it's a little while.
Pickers.
Okay, my number 10 is Doritos Crash Course 2 on the Xbox 360. Yeah, it came out today, Wednesday, the 8th of May. It came out today. Me and a mate were going to play a couple of rounds on multiplayer, and as soon as you boot the game up, the menu screens at the front, and it says an error has occurred while trying to connect to the Doritos Crash Course 2 servers, and in inverted commas, money printer broke down, and it keeps encouraging you. It says try again, press A, and it just keeps saying money printer broke down. So we tried that repeatedly. We rebooted it a few times. It didn't work. So I don't understand what that's all about.
I don't know what that's all about.
It's as if it needs to know, as if there's a whole sort of elaborate system behind the curtain, like with Battlelog and Battlefield and all that stuff. I'm curious as to why it got made as well, because, I mean, they can't gauge how successful the first game was because it was completely free. So, I mean, they must have discerned that it's done wonders for their brand, which I don't really understand. But anyway, after we couldn't get that working, we thought, what the hell, we'll go back and play Doritos Crash Course 1, because it was good, and we haven't played it in a while, so we thought we'd have a look. Both of us went to go and do a mandatory update, crashed Xboxes both times. Tried again. The update crashed our Xboxes for a second time. I didn't try again. Zeno did try again, and it killed his Xbox again. So I don't know. Doritos Crash Course 2. Doritos bollocks.
Do you reckon Doritos are just so angry about all that fucking drama the other month?
Yeah, it's a payback.
Yeah.
There's probably a virus in there somewhere if you can get it working. But yeah, I can't talk about it because I didn't play it. I spent a long time trying to play 2 Doritos games, neither of which worked.
Damn those Doritos.
Yeah, piss.
Talking of viruses, weirdly, my number 9 is a game called Ninja Virus, which is a great name. I've been on Newgrounds searching for some games to play for this shit, and Ninja Virus immediately jumped out at me, unsurprisingly. But it's not very good. It's just a NES-style ninja game, a game the type of which I must have played about 10 million in my life, and it's the same as any other ninja game from that era. You jump a bit, you hit things, you grab shurikens, you can jump off walls. It's way too hard. And I played it for about 5 minutes, and I didn't really understand why it was a ninja virus. I didn't know if that meant that everybody was going to become a ninja, or whether he had a cold, or I didn't really understand why it was a ninja virus. But I like the name, but the game wasn't great.
Okay. Why have we both played ninja games on browsers for the last couple of weeks? What's up with that?
I'll play a ninja game anywhere.
I forgot about that. Okay. Right, my number 9 is Draw Something 2 on iOS. I thought, have you tried this?
Oh, I didn't know it existed.
Did you not hear about the massive launch they did with Ryan Seacrest?
No.
They spent a lot of money launching it with Ryan Seacrest involved somehow. I have to say I didn't see it. I read about it a little bit, and when I heard that. I thought they must know something we don't. They must have figured out a way to make Draw something ridiculously compelling, and there'll be all new systems and stuff. And for them to spend this much money on it, they must have a tremendous amount of confidence that it's not going to sort of tail off the way the first one did. It's an all singing, all dancing version of Draw Something, so it's elaborate. There's graphics everywhere, and it's loud, and it clearly wants you to think that a lot of money has been spent on it, and there probably has been. But it's the same scenario. There's loads of they're trying to sort of the tokens are really stingy, so you have to buy more tokens if you want different options of what you can draw. You can buy different patterned pencils and spray paints and stamps and stuff. You can pay. It's not 69p anymore. It's or was the first one 69p or was it £2?
I thought it was freezies.
No, there was a full ad-free version, wasn't there?
Oh, I can't remember.
Well, this one's $1.99 anyway, and you get a couple of cursory, like you get a sparkle pen, and you get a few.
Oh, sweet!
Yeah, you get a few new words and new currency bonuses and stuff. It's the same game. I have to confess that because it looks nicer, and I went back. So there's a new gallery option where they sort of put up the best drawings of the week. Some of them are staggeringly good. And there's also a system which is similar to the Miiverse system on Wii U, where you can follow different artists and recommend different artists and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been nice to go back to it. It's gonna tail off in a week or so. There's weird. The only new things that they've brought to it is that you can add a caption to your picture, and I don't understand. What are you supposed to write?
You can just say what the answer is,
or you can just draw what the answer is, which has always been a problem. I had one game against a random today. He went first, and he just wrote what the answer was. And annoyingly, I can't chop him out of my friends. He's there now permanently as like a competitor, and I can't delete him because I don't want to play with someone who's going to fucking write the answer on the screen. So that's quite annoying. But it's basically the same game, a little nicer looking. But if you've played it before, that said, having left it alone for so long, it was nice to go back to it. So it's all right.
No, yeah, Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, you should. If you try the free one, you might think, "Wow, I forgot that this is actually quite a good game for 5 minutes."
Yeah. Maybe I will, but it started to ruin my life last time with all the hassle. A lot of hassle. People hassling you for drawings all the time.
Wow, I never had that, so I can't comment.
Yeah. My number 8 is a game called Obsolescence, which is another Newgrounds job. Really hard to explain. It's a shooter, like a shmup shooter style thing, where you are a blob and there are a bunch of other like alien/jellyfish blobs. You can move around in a circle, and everything is inside the circle that you need to shoot, right? And you're trying to get the ball in the middle of this circle, but it's blocked off by a bunch of enemies, and you've got a laser, so you're trying to like get a path through to the middle orb thing to kill it, and then you move on to the next level. It's all right. It's a neat idea, and it's reasonably good fun. After a few levels, the enemies start firing back at you, so you've got to dodge. But the music, it sounds like the Knight Rider music if it was remixed by an 8-year-old with a Casio keyboard, and it's fucking nightmarish. So I couldn't play it for very long because it just made me want to like pull my ears out. But apart from that, it's all right. Good effort.
Fair play. What's so weird about sites like Newgrounds is that you always expect to find early works of people who went on to go and make, big games and, names we all know, but that doesn't really seem to be the case. It seems to be people who make games on there and then stop doing it.
There's I think the original Super Meat Boy was on there, wasn't it? And,
that's true. That's very true.
A few other bits and bobs, but yeah, I know what you mean.
It seems like it should be fertile ground, and it's not. I mean, with a couple of exceptions, obviously, it seems a bit strange that that's not the case. But what was it called?
Obsolescence.
All right.
It's all right. I mean, it's okay. If I turn the sound off, I could probably play it for. It would be. I think it'd be quite a good fit on a phone. So all you need is left and right, like Super Hexagon. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're not firing anything, but good effort. Fair play to you.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, my number 8 is Bleed on the Xbox 360. Spoken about very much. Not only did you mention it last week, the Joypod lot talked about it last week, I think it was. Even though the lame bastards, I think one of them played it for 10 seconds and that was about it. But they've patched it so that there's co-op. I thought I'd try to see what co-op was like, and it's really weird. I mean, the problem is that trying to make Bleed a co-op game is quite a task in itself, but nice as it is that it's included, it's kind of sort of it's a little bit cursory, and I don't think unless both people playing it were experts and were sort of playing to help each other out constantly, it doesn't really work, because basically the screen follows player 1 and player 2. You can leave them stranded at the beginning, and if you're trying to control them, like if you were jumping up, you can leave them at the bottom and they can't see where they're going. You have to go down and follow them and stuff. The bullet time and the health are both shared. And it's just it's a nice addition, but it's not something that you can get much enjoyment out of. If it was online and you each had your own screen, it would be a different matter. But as it is, it's kind of, you have to sort of, come on, you have to sort of basically walk alongside each other. So it's, but then again, it's so great as a single player game. The fact that it's on there anyways is just it's a nice thing. But yeah, inessential massively.
Yeah, I haven't had time to go back to Bleed this week, unfortunately, but I am excited to do so because, it was very cool from what I played so far, and as you've said multiple times, no doubt. My number 7 is a game called People, which is my final Newgrounds game this week, and all it was on the menu was a little stick man, and it was called People. I thought it sounds interesting, and it is quite interesting. The whole game you can play through in about 5 minutes. You play as a stick man. It's like a top-down, very sparse view of a bunch of very black stick men and some grey ones, and you're a black one, and you have to go and find other black ones, and like when you find them, they all sort of join together, and like. At first, I thought it was like a sort of Black Panther simulator, but then I realised that it was the colour of the little stickmen was irrelevant. As you get your little group together, the little stickmen of your group start pairing off with the little grey ones. And at first, it's really annoying, so you feel like you're trying to build a big team. But then you realise it's just like the natural order of things, and you have a big group of friends, and then different friends get married, and then your group gets smaller, and it's like the music's quite nice. It's quite a sweet little thing. It feels like it's been made by someone who's like eternally single, and all his mates have got married off, and he's a bit sad about it, and he just wants to find a girlfriend. But maybe that is the whole situation, and he's decided to channel it into a pleasant little game for people to play. So yeah. Fair play to him, nice little thing, and didn't outstay its welcome at all. I enjoyed it.
Oh wow, okay. People
on Newgrounds. If you've got 5 minutes to spare, I would play People. It's all right.
All right, okay.
It's a nice thing to do.
Interesting. Okay, my number 7 is a game called Fatal Inertia on the Xbox 360. Ring any bells?
Yeah. Why?
It's very old. I was basically on the on-demand section of the Xbox dashboard, where because there's some new deals on there. Far Cry 3 is £15, for example. There's some stuff on there. I was just seeing what was on there, and I saw this game Fatal Inertia. And I was like, I've never heard of it. And I downloaded the demo, and it's from back not long after the Xbox launch. I think it was late 2006, already 2007, and the demo is just, it's a really, really rubbish Wipeout clone.
I do remember it now.
I don't know what it's doing in this century, to be honest. It hasn't moved with the times like Wipeout has. It's just like it looks like hell. There's jaggies everywhere. There's fast, repetitive electronic music with a lot of that sounds fucking straight out of the early 90s. There's fluorescent discs on the ground. If you drive over them, you get collectibles. Periodically, a computerized voice will speak to you. It put me to fecking sleep. The only way a game like that would be acceptable is if you found out the guy that made it has been in a coma since the early 90s, and this is his first game, and he wasn't aware of what had happened in the interim, because it's so... I'm amazed it was released on current gen machines. It's mental. It's download it. It's a relic, and I don't know how it's existed on the Xbox. It's or 360, I should say. Weirdly out of date and strange and not good.
Yeah, I've got the vaguest memories in that game, but yeah, it's kind of filtering with that. Do you remember Quantum Redshift on the original Xbox? The same sort of shit. Yeah, and it was all kind of merging into one. But it's no Extreme G3, I tell you that much.
Oh yeah, I remember I pretended to like that for a little while.
Yeah, it was basically unplayable, but you could go quite fast.
Yeah, true that.
Cool. All right, my number 6 is a game called Candy Box. Have you heard people chatting about this in the last week?
I'm not sure.
It's people have been talking about it quite a lot on Twitter. What it is very hard to explain. It's an ASCII game. I don't know what that is, but everyone else seems to know what it is, so I figured if I say it, people understand what I'm talking about. You basically go on a website and it counts up amount of candies that you have, right? Every second or so, you get another one. And then you can, once you've got 10, you can either chuck them on the ground or eat some. And then you can buy lollipops, and they keeps totting up. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining it. Then, so I left it for ages, and I forgot I was doing it. And I went back, and I had like 30,000 candies or something. So and then there's all these options. You can buy like a sword, and then eventually you start going on an adventure, and you get loot on the adventure. It was all very strange, and people appear to be completely addicted to it. It's strangely compelling, and I felt myself getting pulled into it. And then I thought, John, what the fuck are you doing? Don't play this game that just looks like something's been drawn on notepad. Don't do it. Do something else. But yeah, you might like it. Other people, Candy Box, it might draw you in, and seems to have worked for a lot of people. But it felt like it was going to be one of those experiences that I would regret if I spent a long time on it. So I got out of there just before it grabbed me.
Okay, that sounds shocking. What is it on iOS?
No, it's on the browser. It's on the phone. Not phone, a computer.
Oh, okay.
Just a website. It's a website, basically. Type in Candy Box into Google. I bet you find some funny stuff. But you'll also find this game, and lots of people seem to like it. But I was getting the impression it was kind of that ironic-like thing that winds me right up.
Deadly Premonition.
Yeah, actually, very much so.
Sorry, that's controversial. I know it upsets people when I say things like that, but that's extremely true. Okay, I'm not going to download that. That sounds. Oh, sorry, I'm not even going to play that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do that tonight. Candy Box is done. Just because I don't know what the hell you just said over the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to explain. So apologies.
Okay. All right, my number 6 is Planet Wars on the Xbox 360. It is an indie game. It actually originally was on iOS, but this is a port. I think it was on iOS like a year or 2 years ago. It's brand new on the Xbox Live indie game area, and I feared the worst. The box art title's Planet Wars, so there's a gruff marine there, as you'd expect. But if you look at the gameplay screenshot, it's a black and white pencil drawing. So I was like, oh god, this has potential to be god awful. It's really not. It's actually really, really good. I actually went and looked at. It's a one man band. I forget his name. Cole. The company is called Cole Powered Games. And there's a blog post on his blog saying we've just arrived on Xbox, talked about the problems with porting it and this and that, and then he said as a reward for reading this, here's some free code. So I thought what a nice thing to do. So yeah, I've got the full version of the game. It starts with a cutscene and it's rendered in black and white. It's got kind of those thick, hard edges. Really well animated. It looks kind of like vaguely like the SimCity books. But the gameplay in between is actually it's a top-down shooter, and it's drawn in felt tip, and it somehow feels a bit more handmade than a lot of indie games, which says something. And it's if you can imagine a top-down shooter that supports up to 4 players in local co-op. That's Starship Troopers. So you're doing battles against these massive spiders and stuff.
All right.
The thing is, your weapons are quite underpowered. You upgrade them as you go on, but they're quite underpowered, so it's not about running around and gunning so much as being in the right place at the right time. There's a lot of strategic movement. You have to be you'll run in, and then because the enemies are so powerful, you end up backing up and making sure you're in the right position to do it again. So in that respect, it actually, in addition to how it looks, it really reminded me of something like, I can't believe I've forgotten the title of it, Super Nintendo, PC, Cannon Fodder.
Oh, yeah.
Although it's not, fundamentally it's not the same thing, but just because of how much strategy is involved in the play, I thought it reminded much more of something like that. It's challenging without being frustrating. I don't know how it worked on iOS. I should imagine it wasn't anywhere near as good as it is with a pad. But yeah, I'm about 3/4 of the way through, and I'm like, wow, it's really good. I've done a little bit 1-2 player co-op, and it's just a simple 80 Microsoft points. Bit of sort of on the couch local co-op. It's just surprisingly good. I think I've explained it about as well as can be done. But
it sounds quite cool, actually.
There's more to it.
It sounds quite fun.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the simplest thing in the world, but and the artwork is cool as well. There's a sort of a superfluous story that's reasonably well told, but the artwork is really nice to look at, and it's I was expecting the worst, but it's actually really, really tidy as a co-op game.
That sounds right.
It is
Planet Wars.
It's on iOS as well, but I can't vouch for that version because I think you need a pad.
Yeah, it sounds like you would.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, no, that does sound quite cool.
Genuine.
My number 5 is Race the Sun. One of the great things about doing this podcast is quite often when we talk about smaller indie games, the people who make them will get in touch with us through whatever means, whether they had a Google alert set up or whether they listen, I'm not sure, but the chap who makes Race the Sun got in contact with us and offered us a beta key, which is great. So I grabbed that one because I think we decided for the PC that I've got that would make the most sense. And I played it for quite a bit today. It's the same game ostensibly as the one we played on the browser, but just bigger, nicer production values. Seems to be more procedural stuff going on, certainly a lot more colour as you get through the stages. And I also felt, I don't know if it was just the fact that there was no minuscule lag that you can get through a browser, but the controls felt a little bit tighter than the browser version as well. And it's still a really cool game. If you didn't hear us talking about it before, it plays a little spaceship and you're flying into the screen trying to dodge obstacles and collect little triangles of light before the sun goes down. And sometimes you can collect a power up that'll make the sun stay up a bit more, and it gets hard quickly, and it's different every time. And it's just like a really hypnotic, fun game. And this version's just nicer than the version that we've already played, and it's pretty compelling.
Cool, yeah, it is. Do they have a release date even penciled in for when the final thing's coming out?
They might do, but I don't know what it is because it wasn't obvious on the within the version that I have. It didn't say it anywhere or anything like that. So they might do, but I don't know it.
Were those wormholes in it yet where you start, where there's sort of, obviously not because there isn't a community, I suppose?
Yeah, no, it doesn't have any of that stuff in. So that's where the game starts to get really interesting, I think, where, you're jumping between players and all the social aspects. So it just felt like, if the first one was like a proof of concept, this felt like, look, it's actually a proper game now, but it's going to get really cool when we finish it.
Nice one. Okay, yeah, I really am looking forward to that now, I have to say. My number 5 is Space Team on iOS.
Oh man, I've always wanted to play this.
Dave Turner, I think it was the first time he stood in for you on this show. He spoke about it, and I downloaded it. I think that day after he spoke about it, and I never got around to playing it. And my girlfriend bought a new iPad Mini, and I had my phone, and I just said, "Let's try it." She downloaded it, and we played a 2-player game. Do you know what it is?
Yeah, you're trying to coordinate like a weird spaceship control panel, but you have to you get the instructions and it works on their screen, right? So you have to kind of yell at them to do a weird thing, and then they have to It's
a mixture of that. I mean, but it truly is absolutely hilarious. It is. You've got the dashboard and you're given instructions like shut down the Flux Nebula or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're on the other person's screen. Sometimes they're on your screen, and these instructions keep coming. So the first thing you have to learn how to do is to talk at the same time as listening, which is it's not as easy as it sounds.
No.
There's all sorts of switches and levers that have different names on them and stuff, and occasionally one or both of you will, it'll say there's brace for asteroid, and you have to shake the pad. Sometimes you both get told that, sometimes one of you doesn't. You have to shout that in addition to the other instructions, and then after a while, as your ship becomes more damaged, the metal casing around switches starts flapping around, so you have to hold it in place in order to flick the switch. If you fly through a wormhole, there's all these visual malfunctions, so you can't really see what you're doing. And as the ship dilapidates, you start all of the names of the switches and the levers starts being covered by gunk and stuff.
Right.
So you have to remember what they are as soon as each level starts. It's just frenzied. It's so bloody hilarious. I want to try it it supports up to 4 people.
Yeah, I really want to do that.
And I'm going to try and look for an opportunity where 4 people who have iOS devices, because we were just cracking out and we played it. I mean, I don't know how much longevity there is because the same things start happening. We played it over and over again, which goes to show how much fun we were having with it. But there's really gracious microtransactions in the options menu. The guy who made it says if you'd like to buy new ships, I presume there's different Switch names and different things happen and whatnot. It will enable me to continue making games. Thanks very much. And they're optional, obviously, but there's a few different ships there for 69p a pop, which we might do, especially if we can find a situation where 4 people can play at once. But honestly, it's hilarious, absolutely hilarious.
Sweet.
A simple idea for a game and perfectly executed. No frills, but it doesn't need them. Brilliant fun. I'm gutted I didn't try it earlier because there has been situations in the past year when there's been 4 people around. So I do vow to play it with 4 people. But it's free on iOS. Space Team, one word, get it. It's a right laugh.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to do it. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I just haven't had the opportunity. There's been a few situations where I thought about it and I thought I can't pull out my phone and go, "Hey guys, do you want to play a game called Space Team?" You can, because
everyone will fucking love it.
I know, but just certain situations I don't want to do that. But I will play. I will definitely. I really want to. I do want to. Right. That sounds awesome. Sweet. All right, my number 4 is Thomas Was Alone on Vita, which is free on PlayStation Plus this month. Lovely fit on Vita. Nice. It works better on a pad than it does on a keyboard. Obviously, the screen's lovely. You can switch between your little blocks with the touchscreen if you want, but you don't need to. It's better on the shoulder button. And played about the first 25 levels or something, and it's a really nice opportunity to go through it again. So I'll take it slowly this time. Last time I did it, I basically did it in 1 or 2 sittings, but great game. Highly recommend it. If you have PS Plus and a Vita, make sure you download it before it disappears, because it really is very cool and uplifting and pleasant to play. It's
still on my computer and I will play it at some point. I don't have PS Plus. I'm interested to know how that system works with regards to paying. How's I've forgotten his name, the creator of
Mike Bithell.
That's right. How he makes money if it's free. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of sort of package deal that he gets, but
I'm assuming that he gets some money straight from Sony, or it's in a deal where when you publish it on the store or something like that, you give up. I don't know. It's probably different per contract, but I'd always assume that it's you get a small sum or something, small chunk of the subscription. Who knows? Yeah,
what the hell do we know?
No, nothing. But it must. It's probably a coup to be on there rather than a bad thing, I would have thought.
Yeah. No. Yeah. True. I'm sure people who never would have thought to even try it will be playing it.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Yeah, I'll play it soon.
PS Plus is cool as well. I haven't had a chance, but both Hitman and Catherine are on PS3 this month for free. So I'm going to download both of them probably after the podcast, because I've always wanted to play Hitman, even though I hear it's not that great. And obviously you've banged on about Catherine enough, and I've definitely always wanted to play that. So having a chance to do so for free. Well, it's not free. I pay a bit, but. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Hitman is underrated junk that I really enjoyed. Catherine is something far more special than that. So if you are in a position where you have PS Plus and you could download both of those, and you only have enough room to download one, get Catherine a million times over. That goes double for you, boy.
Yeah, I've got room for both, so I'll get them both, boy.
Okay, sweet. Okay. All right, my number 4 is Trials Evolution.
Oh yeah.
It's still, me and my friends, everyone apart from you, basically, is full on back into Trials. The best way to describe Trials Evolution as a game is me and my mate Zeno. We're in a car and we were talking about Trials and we were gushing about it, how it's probably one of the best games ever. I said last week it deserves to be in the pantheon of all-time great games, and I stand by that, especially when I went back to the track editor and realised that not only is there a million extra red links created tracks, there's a million user created tracks, and then there's different game. I mean, it's a game that's just if you had to have one game, it would be this. It's mental. But we were talking about it in the car and just gushing and fawning over it and just talking about how much we loved it, and then 10 minutes later, same car journey, we were fucking cursing it and what a bastard game it is, and that sums it up. But the track editor, as it's called, it should be called something else. Some of the things that I found on there the other day. I mean, there's an Aliens FPS.
What?
Yeah, I'm not being facetious. It's better than Colonial Marines. There's actual jumps in it. There's collectibles and bosses. I mean, the aliens are stationary things that just sort of wheel towards you as if someone's like pushing them. You know, it's rickety and sort of. But the fact that the guy or the team or whatever, I mean, one person, I'm sure, made it. It's just like that is so impressive. I mean, it's almost on a par with Little Big Planet. The amount of invention and the amount, the tools seem to be almost as elaborate as they are on Little Big Planet. There was a Terminator 2 race where you're racing through that world. You know, the sort of the post-apocalyptic wasteland with all the things flying above that appears in every Terminator film with all the skulls on the ground and stuff. You're racing through that on a bike, and then you jump over a jump and you land, and it's the truck chase from Terminator 2.
Oh, sweet.
And the camera's whipping around. There's the cutscenes are kind of interactive because it will go to a cutscene and then back to you. It replicates shots from that sequence in the film. And I'm just like, man, you don't need another game. That's only a couple of things that were on the top of the top rated stuff.
Yeah.
Hundreds, I mean, thousands. I mean, an untold amount of stuff on Trials. But then again, all that's great stuff, and I was again gushing all over it. And then after that, I spent 40 minutes trying to beat a mate's time on one track, and I estimated that I must have restarted probably well in excess of 500 or 600 times.
Jesus.
And I just thought, this is mental. What am I doing? This is madness. I mean, it's my own fault because I'm compelled to do it, but this is not a way that I want to fucking spend my time. You evil bastard game. I hate you. Burn in hell. But yeah, that made a real impression on me, and I think something similar happened the last time. You know, when Trolls first came out, when I put it to bed back then. I was, so yeah, I have no plans to play it at the moment for the foreseeable future because I'm done now. After I spent 40 minutes of my life just restarting. I just thought I can't. I mean, it's my own fault because I should be go back to exploring the user created stuff. But hey ho, Trolls. Maybe I'll talk about it again one day. Maybe.
Yeah, man. I want to go check that stuff out now. The aliens thing and that sounds great.
There's a 2001, a really highly rated 2001 one as well, which I couldn't get to work. It's like gravity based, and it just I didn't know what was up and all that shit. But there's loads. All of that stuff that I mentioned is on the highest rated option on the in the menu. Yeah, just go and check. There's an untold amount of great stuff on there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds très bien. All right, my number 3 is Slender: The Arrival on PC. I'm reviewing this for Games TM magazine. Probably would never have played it otherwise. I've made my thoughts about the original Slender game fairly clear. Well, I admire the fact that it was a free game and it was cool. I thought the scares were cheap. Slender: The Arrival is a much more accomplished game. It's for starters, it looks really nice. It's not an amazing looking game, but it has good lighting, good textures, especially when it starts off in the day and it looks a little bit sketchy, but then quickly it turns to night, and it's quite an effective game. You have a torch, so everything like the lighting with the torch, it's really it's quite nice and moody. You start off by investigating that you're trying to find your friend Kate, I think it is, and you go to her house and you can't find her, and there's loads of pictures of Slenderman on the wall and things like that, and then you hear a loud scream, and I must admit it's like a slow build, and it's creepy, it's good, it's really fucking good actually. And then the first proper level starts, and it's basically a facsimile of the original Slender game. You've got to find 8 pieces of paper in the woods, basically the same thing. And at first, again, really, creepier, but mainly because it looks so much better, and the production values are so much better. And they're just walking around trying to find these things, and you can hear footsteps and stuff. And I was like, this is pretty fucking scary, to be honest. And then, so you collect 1 piece of paper, 2 pieces of paper, whatever, and then like the camera starts to go and all that stuff, and then boom, you'll see the guy. And the first time, it does shit you up properly. It's still a bit jump scare, but I thought that there was a good enough build up. But then from then, it's just almost relentless. Like, you're just trying to find these pieces of paper, and then the camera keeps going, and it's fucking okay, yeah, you made me jump again. And then you basically, if you look at him too long, you die. His face just comes up on the screen. You have to do the whole level again. So you're just trying to basically run past him or run to the side so you don't look at him. After a while, after about 5 minutes, you see through the game completely, and it just becomes really fucking annoying because you're just trying to find these pieces of paper, right? That's not a very particularly fun thing to do, running around in the dark looking for a thing, a needle in a haystack, basically, so you can progress. Add on the fact that every 2 seconds your fucking camera is going and making you jump, and then just some tall twat is just standing there just being annoying. And after a while, I was just looking at him from the other side of the thing, and I was like, "You're not scary at all. You do. What are you going to do?" So I'm just staring at you, and I was like, "I'm not scared of you. You're just some tall guy. You've not done anything. There's no dead bodies around here anywhere. It's just some pictures. I'm not a kid." So I thought, I reckon I can fucking take you, actually. There's only 2 of us in here, and you've got a really long neck, and I don't rate you as a grappler, so I reckon I can choke you out. So I walked up to him, and then his face came in the screen, and I died. And I thought, well, that's just shit, to be honest.
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest, because there was never a lot of meat on those bones anyway. I mean, it was a gimmick in the first place. I'm surprised they've done as much with it as they have. But the fact that it just sort of goes backwards into what it was in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, there's other levels. There's one set in a mine, and then there's another baddie comes along. But the game is the same in every level. You have to find different things, and don't look at the monster basically. And as a free game, as a gimmick, it was cool. This isn't free. I think it's going to be like 10, 12 quid. And there's no doubt that it's scary to have a thing jump out at you that looks kind of weird, but ultimately I think Slenderman's pretty shit. I don't think he's scary. He's not Michael Myers or someone like that. That guy, you catch him out the corner of the eye, he's murdered people up. He's murdered a lot of people up. Slenderman was done nothing. Okay, your friend's missing. She might have just gone out, and there's just some tall guy in the woods in a suit. Yeah, I reckon I can have him.
He doesn't have a face now, does he?
No, he doesn't have a face, but yeah, after a while, I was just like, mate, just fuck off. I'm just trying to find these pieces of paper. It's like a drunk guy in a bar who's like insisting on trying to have a fight with you, and you're just trying to get on with your day. He's just there the whole time. Just fuck off, mate.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise. I was surprised. I think it got like an 8 or a 9 in Eurogamer, and I was like, wow, that comes as a real surprise.
Yeah, it got a 4 on Video Gamer, and I'm definitely leaning towards that.
Yeah.
At first, I genuinely did think it was pretty cool, but it wears thin so fast, and you're like walking around. My least favourite thing in all of video games is being stuck and just walking around in circles, not knowing what to do. It makes me feel physically sick. And this is a game about being stuck while some annoying guy in a suit just fucking prods you the whole time, and then occasionally just kills you, and you have to do it again. That's not fun.
No, you're damn right. Wow. That sounds wow. I was never going to play that anyway, but it came about too quickly as well, considering that the Slenderman thing happened fairly recently.
Yeah.
The fact that there's just sort of how much does it cost? Is it like a full whack?
I think it's like maybe 10 or 12 quid.
Well, that's acceptable, I guess. Has your mate played it yet?
Who's my mate?
The Swede you were talking about, who plays scary games.
PewDiePie. Yeah. He's got like 2.5 million views on his videos. Playing it.
Wow.
Yeah, he's quite popular. Yeah. Fair play to that guy. He's done well for himself.
True that. Okay. All right. My number 3 is Battlefield 3. I think this has happened before, but basically over the weekend we were playing Battlefield together, and we were all like, "What's happened to Batters? Finally, the turning point's come. Everything's gone to shit." We were playing games where no one was playing the objective. We were on huge maps, and people were standing at the spawn trying to snipe people on the other side of the map, which is physically. I mean, it's not even. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, and it was just we were exasperated, and we were genuinely like, "Fuck! I think it's time to put Batters to bed." And then we remembered it's free Xbox Live Gold weekend,
Okay.
So all of these people were just playing it, and they weren't really care about what they were doing. They were just dicking around. So yeah, that was fun. We played it last night. I've decided that I really think DICE have fucked up with the capture the flag maps, because there are no dead zones. So when you're playing against like rank 100s, which happens more and more on Battlefield, it's a game of who can put a spawn beacon on your spawn fastest, and you nick each other's vehicles, and it's a horrible clusterfuck where there's not really a whole lot of strategy. It's just chaos. All it would take was to move the dead zones a little bit forward, so that people can stop nicking each other's vehicles, because that's a shitty thing to do in the first place. Yeah, but that's it. Batters, I like it. Genuine.
Batters. It's too blue. It's too blue for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. My number 2 is Soul Sacrifice on PlayStation Vita.
Oh, yeah.
The Keiji Inafune game that he left Capcom to make. It's in a weird position, this game, because it's been, like, maybe through no fault of its own, suddenly put as like the potential saviour, or certainly a big hitter for Vita. Yeah. And in actual fact, it's not. It's just, it could never be that, because it's a game for a specific type of player, and that is a type of player who seems to dig something like Monster Hunter, is really into like customizing and creating and building a character to the point where they care more about that than the actual fucking verbs that you're using to play the game, because it's just a section of endless, seemingly, selection of very short missions where you go into an arena and hit things using spells until they die, and then you can either save or sacrifice them. Saving gives you health back, sacrificing increases your magic power, and then at the end of the level you get a bunch of new spells, and then so your guy's more powerful, and you go into the next level and you're more powerful. You know, there's a compulsion loop there, but ultimately it's just incredibly repetitive. And certainly, like, I am not that type of gamer as well, which is, you know, I think the reason why it's been reviewing quite up and down. It's going to be the type of game that really appeals to a certain type of personality, and that personality isn't mine. If it does appeal to your type of personality, and you do really like that kind of thing, it wraps it all up in a really nice, stylish, like clever use of narrative. Really, it's not brilliantly acted or anything like that, but you play as this sorcerer who's stuck in a bony cage, and you can move around this cage in first person, and you're put there by this like demon god or whatever, some fucking guy I don't know, and like your main point of interaction is a talking book that kind of reminds me of Johnson from Shadows of the Damned. He's not as full of innuendo, but he's like a sort of English gent. He's a bit, funny and prods you and teases you a little bit.
That sounds like the book in Nier that talks to you.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. Definitely a lot like that. I don't know if that's a thing in Japanese thing, or they just happen to both be talking books. Anyway, every level that you play is like a journal entry, and you're like changing. The idea is that you're changing the past or whatever, and like rewriting this journal in order to get more powerful to beat this fucking demon god. It's a nice conceit, and it's all done very lovingly. The way that the pages come together, like the font sort of appears on the page, and like the story comes about. So if you're into the actual gameplay bits, I reckon all that stuff would be very cool. But because I didn't give a shit about the actual game, really, it wasn't bad. It's like quite fun. Like the combat's fun. Like the hitting things feels nice. The enemy design is cool. It moves nicely, nice frame rate and stuff like that. But after a few hours, I'm just like, I know what the next level is going to be. It's going to be me hitting a bunch of guys, and you can play it at 4-player co-op, which makes it a bit more interesting. I had to play with randoms. Stuff like when you die, you become like a spirit, and you can either choose to buff people or fuck them over. And then there's good ideas in there, but it's just not enough for me. There's not enough variety, and when it comes to combat, I'm definitely the DMC Bayonetta school rather than the hit, get more powerful item, hit, I'll feel more powerful type of school.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I mean, do you think it's going to sell well?
I think it will do what it should. What's the best way of saying this? I think it will do exactly what it should do for the game that it is. I think it will find a niche audience that will really like it. It can already tell by a lot of the user comments and some of the reviews out there. And I don't think it's been made for an extraordinary amount of money or anything like that. It's only 30 quid, so I think it'll do fine. But anyone expecting it to be some big game that's going to break out, and I mean, even less so than Monster Hunter, which is not really played, and something like Dark Souls, which other people have compared it to, it's actually nothing like that. I don't think it'll even have that level of mainstream success, and you could hardly really call those games mainstream. But I think they've just like broken out of their niche a little bit. But I don't think this will, especially is the fact that it's on a Vita. But that might encourage the people to play it because there is no other games on Vita. But yeah, I don't think it will do. It won't be big.
Yeah,
big. Okay. There might be a sequel, but it won't be massive.
Okay. All right then. Okay, my number 2, I'm sure it's on your... Actually, I'm certain it's on your list as well, as Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
That's my number 1.
Okay, well, I'll leave it until your number 1 then. What's your number 2?
That was Soul Sacrifice, my number 2.
Which is number 1 then?
Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Oh yeah, shit. Right, sorry, I got my orders mixed up. Okay, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. Let's do it then.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, first, I don't know where to start actually. The first thing I'll say is that it is a comedy. That's what it is. I mean, we don't categorise video games by content. We categorise them on form. But if we did it on content, if I had to put this in the right slot in a video library, it would be a comedy. Some of the comedy falls flat. Some of it, but it's gags. It's non-stop jokes. It's stupid, and it's quite a wild production. I mean, I'm convinced that we're going to look back in a few years on this period of what Ubisoft has done, and they really seem to be in a completely different place from most publishers, because I don't understand why this got greenlit. I'm very thankful it did.
Yeah.
But what a completely whacked out concept. They've reused assets from Far Cry 3, but it's not the same island or anything. There's certain parts of it that reminded me of areas in Far Cry 3. But if they're going to if this is a scheme, I mean it is, as a way of reusing assets for a game that's already built and making a completely warped other game out of it, I hope it spawns as many imitators as possible.
Yeah, me too.
It's fundamentally the same. I mean, I had a really bad reaction to it at first because there's something really rote about it. When it starts off, there's a gun turret set piece, and then there's a bit where you have to protect a guy while he's hacking something, and then there's a bit where your weapons are taken away. I was just like, it's just a checklist of fucking... I didn't realise that it actually turned into Far Cry 3 in microcosm. So it does actually open up into a sandbox, and it is basically, Far Cry 3 in microcosm. And it's just absolutely superb. I think I'm approaching the end, and I am really, really loving it.
Oh, you haven't finished it yet?
No, I think I'm right there. Why?
The last 2 levels are unbelievably good.
Oh wow,
they're fucking gleaming. Yeah, I played it this weekend. My bro came to stay for the weekend, and we managed to crack through the whole thing on PC. I said this before, Far Cry 3 is the ultimate pass-the-pad game. It's a brilliant pass-the-pad game. It's divided up into small little segments, whether you're taking on a garrison or even if you're doing a mission. And when you've got someone else watching you, I found myself more naturally inclined to try more audacious things, and he was doing the same. So even though I've only probably technically played half the game, like watching him do some of the levels was just as much fun as playing it. And we did the exact same thing on Far Cry 3 itself. I love so much about this. Just like you, I didn't like the beginning at all. It was really not working for me. There's a really bad tutorial gag at the beginning, and it's I hate tutorials, but it's just a long tutorial. That sort of gag just fucking winds me up. The opening level's rubbish. The bit where you're protecting the hacking guy is rubbish. The humour was like, I was like, okay, but there's like too many cutscenes. But then when it opens out, it's fucking awesome. And the music is so good that... like when you're taking over the garrisons, which is ostensibly the same as Far Cry 3, but with one major variable, which I'll talk about in a second. Yeah. But the music just elevates it to this everything felt so epic. And then when you mix in the blood dragons themselves, the giant dinosaurs, so you can basically lure into the garrisons to start fucking people up. We were experimenting with them as much as we were anything else, and like some of the stuff that happens in the open world is way crazier than anything that happens in 3. You like turn a corner, everything's on fire, there's like 2 fucking dinosaurs in there, these scientists fighting with everything. It's just nuts, and you can just sit back and watch it. We very quickly got an explosive sniper rifle as well, which is a fucking great weapon. And then, like I said, the last 2 levels are just magic, mate. They are magic. It goes out on such a high, doesn't outstay its welcome at all. Just a brilliant game. Absolutely brilliant. I was so happy to play it all the way through. Yeah. And, like you said, if this sets a precedent, then fair play. Apparently it's done... Did I read it's done 5 times their expectations or something like that? And the chap Dean Evans was in a meeting about it, and there's a chance it might get turned into a franchise, which I think would actually be a bit of a shame. I like the fact it's a one-off and an original and an enigma almost. But regardless, if they can do another gleaming game with amazing music, then I'm not really going to turn it down.
Yeah. I totally agree with that, and it is. If they were going to do another, I mean, they could use those assets again and do another Far Cry 3 something else, as long as it was completely different.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like quite original. I mean, every single thing about it is, the music, as brilliant as it is, pieces. I was like, that sounds like the Terminator theme tune.
Yeah.
That sounds like some early John Carpenter stuff. And there's all of the achievements and the assignments and stuff that pops on the screen reference movies and songs and stuff from the 80s and whatnot. The only thing I'm not sure about is the reaction to it online has been overwhelmingly positive. When that footage leaked a month or so ago, everyone was like, how cool is this? Everyone had pretty much the same reaction to it. If you're not of a certain age and you have if you're not impressed by how it looks and its sort of general outlook, I don't know whether... Well, actually, no, of course you will. The game's great. I'm thinking of how I felt when the game started, because I was really like,
Yeah.
I'm liking this, despite the fact that I think the gameplay is actually secondary to everything else that's going on outside it. But it does turn into something else. But then again, I think even if you don't like the stylistic flourishes and stuff, I'd say definitely it's still worth getting. But you have to bear in mind that this is coming from somebody who genuinely thinks that the Dolph Lundgren film Dark Angel, aka I Come in Peace, about drug dealing aliens who come down to Earth and start killing people with compact discs, is one of the greatest films ever made. I'm pretty sure I'm 3/4 of the way through it, and I can't. It's outrageous that it's 1,200 Microsoft points.
Yeah,
an absolute steal, and
absolute steal.
It looks tremendous for the most part as well. Really, really something else.
Yeah, it definitely does. I don't really have a bad word to say about it, apart from that opening 20 minutes. So, funny story, actually, quickly. I actually know Dean Evans, the guy that created it. I went to a trip to see Far Cry 2 a long time ago, and he used to be the guy that cut the trailers for Ubisoft, and he took us all out one evening because he's a character, and he got way too drunk and started being really abusive to me in the street. And so when I found out he was in charge of the game, I was like, oh man, that's really going to colour my opinion of it. And especially during the opening 20 minutes, I was like, I don't like this guy and I don't like these jokes, but it won me over. So all's forgiven, Dean, just about.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, the story's just fucking nonsense, and I did laugh. I mean, there were some jokes fall flat. I mean, and not many people noticed the humour in Far Cry 3, the main Far Cry 3, but there was a lot of, in all of the menus, there was just absolutely cutting sarcasm relentlessly through it, and it's got that kind of tone. The only thing I'm curious about is they are clearly trying... The cutscenes, obviously, are not cutscenes, they're sort of comic book panels that move, but they look like they're kind of post-SNES. I mean, maybe a console that I didn't have, like a 3DO or maybe a Jaguar or something. Yeah. It looks like it's replicated the look of a certain console, and I'm not sure what that is, because it wasn't any of the sort of main ones. But
yeah, I know what you mean. I was thinking that as well when I was playing it, because it didn't. They didn't seem 80s. They seemed 90s.
Yeah. Like,
but I didn't mind. But
it was like, but it was, yeah. I was trying to think. I know I've seen cutscenes like that on a system that I didn't have, and I'm not sure if they were specifically going for that
PC Engine or some shit.
Exactly. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Talking of the tone, though, my bro is born in late '89, so the 80s are kind of a mystery to him, really. And he absolutely loved all of the tonal stuff. So obviously he's seen some of those movies, but he's like nearly 10 years younger than us. So I think people will still get a kick out of it. Maybe not young kids, but they should be playing Far Cry 3.
True that. Yeah, good. If it's been as big a success as you said, I really hope it has. And I just Ubisoft. No other publisher would have. I don't think would have greenlit this. And I love what they're doing at the moment, and I hope it continues.
Oh yeah. Me too. Yeah, Watch Dogs, man. Assassin's 4 sounds interesting. Rayman's great. Saw some new stuff about that. I think I might be NDA'd. I don't care. Yeah, it looks good. Ubisoft. Top stuff. Top shit.
They've been me boys for the last 12 months at least. Top dollar. All right, well, good. Yeah, Blood Dragon. Check it out, I say.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, all right then. My number 1 is Dead Island Riptide.
Oh fuck! I wondered what your number 1 was going to be.
Yeah, I have done a complete 180-degree turn on this.
No way.
It's such a Dead Island and its sequel are quite strange in that no two people seem to have had the same experience. with either game. I read the Digital Foundry breakdown of which was the best version of Riptide, and they said that it looks great on 360. It's far superior to the first one, and I think it was a joint winner with the PC. I might be wrong about that, but they basically said the 360 version was so superior to the first one. And I've had non-stop issues with it. Just technical hitches, like I spoke about. Just they're blemishes, and they're not game-breaking, but they're still quite like you could do without them. Playing on co-op, the number of problems and issues it's become quite comical. There was one point where it killed the sound on my console, and it actually switched off the sound. It turned off the notifications, and I had no sound. So I had to reboot my Xbox, change all the settings, go back in, and actually Battlefield 3 did that at one point. But still, there are glitched assignments all over the place. So if you're trying to get achievements and stuff, that might be a problem. There was a bit that we did a little while ago. I'm doing it on co-op with Xeno, 2-player co-op, and there's a bit where you have to you get a pump and you drain this water from this cavern, and then you walk into it. For one of us, the water was still there, so we couldn't progress to the next level. One of us had to walk, but luckily you can fast travel to the objective. It's just there are breaks in the game all the way through, and it's amazing that it got released in the state that it's in. But some people aren't having this problem. I never had any problems with the first Dead Island, and everyone was throwing their arms up saying it was one of the most broken games of all time.
Yeah, I didn't really either.
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, actually,
like a few bits and bobs, but
the second worst bug in any console game was in the original Dead Island. But aside from that, no technical.
What was that?
Do you know what? I can't remember. I got to a certain point where I couldn't change my save, and all I remember is a guy saying, "All my brothers are great warriors." And I started there, and I think I had nothing, no weapons, no money, and there was 3,000 enemies, and somehow I got past it, but. It was the second worst bug I've ever had in the console game after a bug in The Witcher where you couldn't craft anything, which came from the PC version, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, basically, I've started playing it on co-op. I played Dead Island on my own, loved it. Tried it on co-op, didn't like it. Tried Riptide on my own, didn't like it. And now I'm playing it on co-op, and I love it. We're having such fun. I mean, it's a difficult... There is a certain point at which you have to accept that games like this are just fun. And it's hard to assess how much work has gone into making it entertaining and how much of it's just fun. I mean, we're just having fun. It's like, we'd have fun in a playground. And online playgrounds, we make our own fun almost. Yeah. All I can say is that we've laughed. I haven't laughed this much playing a game in a long time. I've lost track of the amount of amusing things that have happened. I mean, the whole way through, Zeno, who I'm playing it with, was looking for... He wasn't finding any weapons he liked. Right. He was trying all these... He was, I'm not finding my weapon. And the other funny thing is that when you don't have a lot of money and you don't have a lot of weapons, to get from A to B is often a mad dash. One of you will get downed, you have to run back, pick him up, and you're just running through all these zombies. But we were sprinting once, running through the zombies, and he was like, I found my fucking weapon. And he was running, flames... zombies on flames chasing him, sprinting, and he was like, look at this fucking spanner, and he had a wrench in his hand that was almost as big as him, with all these guys sprinting after him. I almost pissed myself laughing. And then there was another bit when he got a boat wedged in some scenery, and he was trying to get it out by using the lever on the motor, and he just kept bobbing up and down, so he looked like a child trying to entertain himself in a playground. It's one of those games where funny stuff just happens, And it is. I'm glad I don't have to review it, because I'd have to really chew that over, because it's so difficult. Because as I said, the fetch quest problem is a real problem. I'm now far further than I was when I did it on my own, and still it's just fetch quests. There was one bit where we got to a horde-like scenario. They're like, build up the foundations, you get ready for a fight. And one of the guys comes up and he goes, oh, bloody hell, bro, we forgot the drone guns. They're on the other side of the island. And you're like, are you fucking serious? We have to undo all the stuff we put up to keep ourselves in, and then go all the way to the other side of the island and pick up these fucking turrets and then bring them back, and then it starts. I mean, it's the worst thing about sandboxes. The worst sandboxes always make me think, how much of this is you treading water trying to make it seem like there's more content than there is? Yeah. And this is every inch the DLC pack that's got expanded to a full-price game. But we're loving it. Absolutely loving it. We're loving crafting weapons, doing all that shit, and we're just loving the combat. I mean, apparently, I've got a move, my guy, where I run in and I do a flying kick and zombies go flying. Apparently that never gets old. And every time I do it, Zeno fucking cracks up. And similarly, when he runs into battle with his giant wrench, I mean, honestly, it's one of the funniest gaming experiences I've had. But as I said, it's a difficult one, because how much kudos do you give them? Because it's just it's more of the same, and hell, maybe going back to Dead Island on 2-player may be as entertaining as this, but nevertheless, I can't not recommend it because I've done a complete 180-degree turn and we've played it a lot, and Zeno's enjoying it so much he's started a game on his own and he's loving that, so maybe my reaction was a little bit hasty on the single player. I'm really liking it. I haven't finished it yet, but God, it's been a fucking riot.
Yeah, that sounds funny now.
Yeah, it's so difficult there because it's like, I know I'm laughing at stuff that's legitimately funny, but how do I praise Techland for that?
Yeah, good old Techers.
Yeah, I wish they could have put a bit more fucking variety in their missions. I mean, it's comedic how many fetch quests there are, and we've just learned to go with it. If you don't go with it, you'll get very, very frustrated and angry, I should imagine. But God, I love it. I'm really sorry. I really like it.
Did you see that quote that Techland released about their new engine?
No, what did it say?
So they've got their new engine for next generation or whatever, and they're like, yeah, we make all our games on it. And so the interviewer was just like, is it going to compare to like CryEngine 3 or Frostbite 2? And they're like, yeah, you can do absolutely everything on this engine. You can do graphics, set pieces, levels, music, everything.
They are
save points. You can save points.
Were they taking the piss though?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know because it was just written down. So maybe it's some dry Polish humour, or maybe, I mean, I'm sure you can do all those things.
Oh God, there's something so tantalising about them because I just don't know whether it seems like they're a marketplace for really, really sort of low-aiming trash that somehow ends up being really good a lot of the time.
Yeah,
and I like that. I like to think that they're taking the piss by saying all that stuff.
They aim like sort of chest height, and they hit almost every single time.
That's true. Very true. One minor thing: the very first quest we did on co-op, a glitched enemy got stuck under a bridge, and we had to restart the game from scratch.
Oh.
I don't know. I have a shopping list of problems written here that I'm not going to bother going over because it's such a busted heap of junk game. But absolutely brilliant fun as well.
Fuck. That makes me want to play it because I do remember having so much fun on the first one now, but I don't think I've got time.
True that.
Same. All right, well, yeah, thank you very much for listening. That's 62 in the can. Check out the Twitters, at John Denton, at Chet Roivas, at Chet and Johns. We've got the YouTube channel. Chet's just uploaded the latest, his week in Batters, so go and watch that shit. Don't go on the website, there's nothing on there. Check us out on Facebook. Fucking leave a review on iTunes because that seems to do awesome stuff. And if you've got any games that you think we should play, just hit us up on Twitter and tell us to play them. We'll play them. Let's do it. All right, thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Just quickly on the iTunes thing, last time when we asked people if they could leave us an iTunes review, we went from 900 and something in the ratings to in the top 20, so it really makes a fucking difference. So if you haven't done that and you're able to, we'd massively appreciate that.
Yeah, for real.
So thanks very much for listening. See you next week, hopefully.
Bye.
Wash your hands. Rex, are you doing okay after that EMP surge?
Good as new, Doc. There's no challenge I can't beat.
I don't know, Rex. I'm pretty unstoppable in the Bishop of Battle.
Doc, you play video games?
Yes, Rex. Video games are a proven coping mechanism, like any hobby. They've been shown to improve hand-eye coordination, problem-solving, social interaction, and self-confidence. And no studies have managed to prove a correlation between video games and violence. Frankly, anyone who thinks games are bad for you is a fucking idiot.
Hey, whoa, Doc.
No, Rex. FUCK stands for failing to understand our capacity for kindness. It's an acronym. Though I suppose this isn't a game anymore, is it?
Obsolescence.
All right.
It's all right. I mean, it's okay. If I turn the sound off, I could probably play it for. It would be. I think it'd be quite a good fit on on a phone. So all you need is left and right, like Super Hexagon. So yeah, you're not firing anything. But yeah, good effort. Fair play to you.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, my number 8 is Bleed on the Xbox 360. Spoken about very much. Not only did you mention it last week, the Joypod lot talked about it last week, I think it was. Even though they're lame bastards, I think one of them played it for 10 seconds and that was about it. But they've patched it so that there's co-op. I thought I'd try to see what co-op was like, and it's really weird. I mean, the problem is that trying to make Bleed a co-op game is quite a task in itself. But nice as it is that it's included, it's kind of sort of it's a little bit cursory, and I don't think unless both people playing it were experts and were sort of playing to help each other out constantly, it doesn't really work, because basically the screen follows player 1 and player 2. You can leave them stranded at the beginning, and if you're trying to control them, like if you were jumping up, you can leave them at the bottom and they can't see where they're going. You have to go down and follow them and stuff. The bullet time and the health are both shared. And it's just it's a nice addition, but it's not something that you can get much enjoyment out of. If it was online and you each had your own screen, it would be a different matter. But as it is, it's kind of, you have to sort of, come on, you have to sort of basically walk alongside each other. So it's, but then again, it's so great as a single player game. The fact that it's on there anyways is just it's a nice thing. But yeah, inessential massively.
Yeah, I haven't had time to go back to Bleed this week, unfortunately, but I am excited to do so because, it was very cool from what I played so far, and as you've said multiple times, no doubt. My number 7 is a game called People, which is my final Newgrounds game this week, and all it was on the menu was a little stick man, and it was called People. I thought it sounds interesting, and it is quite interesting. The whole game you can play through in about 5 minutes. You play as a stick man. It's like a top-down, very sparse view
at the front, and it says an error has occurred while trying to connect to the Doritos Crash Course 2 servers, and in inverted commas, money printer broke down, and it keeps encouraging you. It says try again, press A, and it just keeps saying money printer broke down. So we tried that repeatedly. We rebooted it a few times. It didn't work. So I don't understand what that's all about.
I don't know what that's all about.
It's as if it needs to know, as if there's a whole sort of elaborate system behind the curtain, like with Battlelog and Battlefield and all that stuff. I'm curious as to why it got made as well, because, I mean, they can't gauge how successful the first game was because it was completely free. So, I mean, they must have discerned that it's done wonders for their brand, which I don't really understand. But anyway, after we couldn't get that working, we thought, what the hell, we'll go back and play Doritos Crash Course 1, because it was good, and we haven't played it in a while, so we thought we'd have a look. Both of us went to go and do a mandatory update, crashed Xboxes both times. Tried again. The update crashed our Xboxes for a second time. I didn't try again. Zeno did try again, and it killed his Xbox again. So I don't know. Doritos Crash Course 2. Doritos bollocks.
Do you reckon Doritos are just so angry about all that fucking drama the other month?
Yeah, it's a payback. Yeah. There's probably a virus in there somewhere if you can get it working. But yeah, I can't talk about it because I didn't play it. I spent a long time trying to play 2 Doritos games, neither of which worked.
Damn those Doritos.
Yeah, piss.
Talking of viruses, weirdly, my number 9 is a game called Ninja Virus, which is a great name. I've been on Newgrounds searching for some games to play for this shit, and Ninja Virus immediately jumped out at me, unsurprisingly. But it's not very good. It's just a NES-style ninja game, a game the type of which I must have played about 10 million in my life, and it's the same as any other ninja game from that era. You jump a bit, you hit things, you grab shurikens, you can jump off walls. It's way too hard, and I played it for about 5 minutes, and I didn't really understand why it was a ninja virus. I didn't know if that meant that everybody was going to become a ninja, or whether he had a cold, or I didn't really understand why it was a ninja virus. But I like the name, but the game wasn't great.
Roll up for the Slenderman chokeout.
Hello and welcome to episode 62 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivers. With me, as usual, is John Denton.
Salut.
Every week, same thing. You should know the deal by now. 2 top 10 lists. The 10 games we've been playing over the past 7 days. Number 10, the games we played the least. Number 1, we played the most, etc., etc. John, let's do this.
Let's do this. My number 10 is Mario Brothers U. New Mario Brothers U? Super Mario? I don't know what it's called. I just wanted to play the Wii U. I just thought I just wanted to play it. I need to play this thing, seeing as it's gone down to about £4 now, and I can't remember how much I paid for it, but it was a fucking lot of money with the bundle that I had to buy and all the other shit. And so I felt a little bit aggrieved by the whole thing. So I decided to put it on for a minute, but then my kid snatched the thing out of my hand and then ran off with it. So that was it. I just had to get it back, and then I thought I don't really want to play this. So. Yeah, I played like 20 seconds.
Shit, okay, all right. Good game, though. You should.
Oh, yeah, it's a great game. I'm right at the end. I should do it, really, but I just wanted to play the fucking Wii U.
Yeah.
Just want a game on it. And I know people like Monster Hunter, but I can't play that. I don't even, what is it? I don't want to fucking craft some bones and then go...
You might actually really quite like Monster Hunter. It's just that you need the fucking time to play it.
I've tried playing it before, and it made no sense.
Oh, all right, okay. Fair enough. Well, August, if you're waiting, I think the next biggie is Pikmin, and it's now been pushed back to August. So
Jesus,
yeah, it's a little while.
Pickers.
Okay, my number 10 is Doritos Crash Course 2 on the Xbox 360. Yeah, it came out today, Wednesday, the 8th of May. It came out today. Me and a mate were going to play a couple of rounds on multiplayer, and as soon as you boot the game up, the menu screen... Okay, why have we both played Ninja games on browsers for the last couple of weeks? What's up with that?
I'll play a Ninja game anywhere.
I forgot about that. Okay. Right, my number 9 is Draw Something 2 on iOS. I thought... have you tried this?
Oh, I didn't know it existed.
Really? Did you not hear about the massive launch they did with Ryan Seacrest?
No.
They spent a lot of money launching it with Ryan Seacrest involved somehow. I have to say I didn't see it. I read about it a little bit, and when I heard that, I thought they must know something we don't. They must have figured out a way to make Draw Something ridiculously compelling, and there'll be all new systems and stuff. And for them to spend this much money on it, they must have a tremendous amount of confidence that it's not going to sort of tail off the way the first one did. It's an all singing, all dancing version of Draw Something, so it's elaborate. There's graphics everywhere, and it's loud, and it clearly wants you to think that a lot of money has been spent on it, and there probably has been. But it's the same scenario. There's loads of they're trying to sort of the tokens are really stingy, so you have to buy more tokens if you want different options of what you can draw. You can buy different patterned pencils and spray paints and stamps and stuff. You can pay. It's not 69p anymore. It's or was the first one 69p or was it £2?
I thought it was freezies.
No, there was a full ad-free version, wasn't there?
Oh, I can't remember.
Well, this one's $1.99 anyway, and you get a couple of cursory, like you get a sparkle pen, and you get a few.
Oh, sweet!
Yeah, you get a few new words and new currency bonuses and stuff. It's the same game. I have to confess, because it looks nicer, and I went back. So there's a new gallery option where they sort of put up the best drawings of the week. Some of them are staggeringly good. And there's also a system which is similar to the Miiverse system on Wii U, where you can follow different artists and recommend different artists and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been nice to go back to it. It's gonna tail off in a week or so. There's the only new things that they've brought to it is that you can add a caption to your picture, and I don't understand. What are you supposed to write?
Just say what the answer is,
or you can just draw what the answer is, which has always been a problem. I had one game against a random today. He went first, and he just wrote what the answer was. And annoyingly, I can't chop him out of my friends. He's there now permanently as like a competitor, and I can't delete him because I don't want to play with someone who's going to fucking write the answer on the screen. So that's quite annoying. But it's basically the same game, a little nicer looking. But if you've played it before, that said, having left it alone for so long, it was nice to go back to it. So it's all right.
No, yeah, Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah, you should. If you try the free one, you might think, "Wow, I forgot that this is actually quite a good game for 5 minutes."
Yeah, maybe I will. But it started to ruin my life last time with all the hassle. A lot of hassle. People hassling you for drawings all the time.
Wow, I never had that, so I can't comment.
Yeah. My number 8 is a game called Obsolescence, which is another Newgrounds job. really hard to explain. It's a shooter, like a shmup shooter style thing, where you are a blob and there are a bunch of other like alien / jellyfish blobs. You can move around in a circle, and everything is inside the circle that you need to shoot, right? And you're trying to get the ball in the middle of this circle, but it's blocked off by a bunch of enemies, and you've got a laser, so you're trying to like get a path through to the middle orb thing to kill it, and then you move on to the next level. It's all right. It's a neat idea, and it's reasonably good fun. After a few levels, the enemies start firing back at you, so you've got to dodge. But the music, it sounds like the Knight Rider music if it was remixed by an 8-year-old with a Casio keyboard, and it's fucking nightmarish. So I couldn't play it for very long because it just made me want to like pull my ears out. But apart from that, it's all right. You know, good effort.
Fair play. What's so weird about sites like Newgrounds is that you always expect to find early works of people who went on to go and make, you know, big games and, you know, names we all know. But that doesn't really seem to be the case. It seems to be people who make games on there and then stop doing it.
Well, no, there's like I think the original Super Meat Boy was on there, wasn't it? And,
that's true. That's very true.
A few other bits and bobs, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it seems like it should be fertile ground, and it's not. I mean, with a couple of exceptions, obviously, it seems a bit strange that that's not the case. But what was it called?